Okay, so thank you very much. Um, we have finished to deploy the vCenter, and we are going to create a virtual distributed switch. Let me let's see the. Let me show you this here. Um, Here it is the host. It gives you all the hosts in the infrastructure. You can see all the hosts, etc. Here it is the VM and templates section where you can see all the VM and templates in your environment. But we don't have any we have not created any VM yet. So there's nothing. The data store, it is the data store section. So we see that we have three data store. What is the data store? It is the data store for the server one. So if you see for the host one, this is for the host two, and this is for the host three. So you can see for the data store, we have 200 gigs that you use for the data store. So so that's it we use for the data store. And if we don't forget, we have we have 5 disk. So if you go to the configure storage device, so you will see that that we are using the first 200 gig. It is for the data store one where ESXi is installed, and all the remaining we have one, two for the cache, for the cache this group, and those two will be used for the capacity um, tire. Okay. Um, yeah. uh, okay. Now this here it is for the network. So we have there is the default VM network that is created by default. If we go to the SSI one, if any host, you go to virtual switches, you will see that there is by default there is the virtual switch that is created by default. It is a standard switch, and he has two port group. He has the management network and he has the VM network. The management network, it is where um, you can access the SXI that provide management services, when you can connect to the SXI server. And here, if you have a server that you if you deploy a new server, a new VM, so it will you will use the VM network to that will use to for the VM. And for the physical adapter, so those virtual switch all is connect to the physical environment. So is using a physical adapter. By now, don't forget we have two physical adapter, but now it's using only one, that is VM0, and it is a 10 gigabit switch, a 10 gigabit port, and we have only one. If you go here to the physical adapter, you will see that we have two physical NIC. Let me return to the lab again. Um, um, let me move this. Um, okay. If you see here, we have two NIC for each server. Okay, two physical NIC. So here we have two physical NIC, 10 gigabit NIC, but we are using only one for the vSwitch 0. Okay, but now for this, what's happened? There is two type of a virtual switch. There is standard switch. There is distributed switch. The advantage of the distributed switch over the standard. It is consistent. It is consistent across the host. That means if I create a virtual switch here, if I create a virtual switch here, I have to create it a standard switch. I have to create it in all other ESXi hosts. If I create a vSwitch 1, for example, I have to create here in SSI 2, in SSI 3. But if I create a distributed switch, what's happened? I create a distributed switch. It is not connected to any host. I say what it is. It's like a template. So I create my port group. I create this distributed port group. I create the villain. I can assign a villain the port group, the security, the policy. If I want for example, if I want storage IO to, I want to assign to this switch. And after I create it, I can apply this switch to any host I want. I can apply to SSI1, SSI2, SSI3. That means it is consistent. So when I apply it, so it is the same, it will use the same nick, the same VLAN, and I have to do it only once. So it is better. So you will see that it is better to use it. And if you are going to use a full the full SDDC stack, that means you are going to use NSX, Verni, those things, they rely overly on virtual distributed switch over versus standard switch. So it is mandatory to use distributed switch, and that's why we're going to do now. And if you see the management network, it is very important. It is, if I want to connect to SSI1, that is the 10.0.10.11.1. So I'm using the management network. So it is the management network interface I'm using to connect this SXI 01. So I'm going to create a distributed switch, and I am going to migrate this management network over the distributed switch. So for better scalability, better performance, there is many um, uh, there's many performance, many capabilities there is when you are using distributed switch over the standard switch. So let's go to create so we create a distributed switch, and we will migrate as the management network on the distributed switch as well. Okay, so I go to my network section, data center. So I'm going to create the distributed switch. So I go to the new distributed switch. Um, I can give the name a Blue Ocean VDS. Okay, VDS for virtual distributed switch. Okay. Um, I'm using the latest distributed switch version. So all my infrastructure is using ESXi 8. But if you are using older ESXi version, so it's better to downgrade your distributed switch version. Okay, next. And how many uplink I have? Uplink is the physical adapter, the physical NIC each server has. So if you return to my infrastructure, each server has two physical adapter, two uplink. The uplink is the adapter that will connect my SSI to the physical world, to the physical infrastructure. So each server has two physical NIC. So I will say two. So I have to uplink. Okay. I'm not going to talk about network IO. Network IO is, I can prioritize some traffic. For example, if I have vMotion traffic, I can allocate a percentage for my management network. For tolerance, I can allocate some percentage. By default, it is enabled, and there is some pre-allocate a percentage for each services, for management services, for tolerance, for vMotion, vSAN. But you can modify later if you want to, but by default I allocate. And we have to create a default port group by default. So I have a big switch, but on the switch I can create default port group. For example, I can create a port group for management net services, for vSAN services, for vSAN traffic, or for vMotion traffic. So let's create a default one for the management. So a default port group. I create next, and I say finish. One of the things I want to do, I always want to do when I create the a VDS, it's for the jumbo frame. That's mean it's better to. I think a modern switch now can support a jumbo frame. That's mean by default maximum transmit unit MTU, it is 1500, a 1500. But you can, with if you enable jumbo frame on those switch, you can go to 9000. So it's better to if you can. So it's better to do it in your VDS. So, and you have to enable it on the switch and your physical switch as well. So I can go here, I enable it, I go to advanced. It is by default, it is a 15, but I put it to 900, and that's it. And I have to uplink. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. And okay. Now I can go to okay. Now I have created the management a per group. I have to create a. I should have the management group will manage the management traffic only. So I'm going to create a VM kernel. There will be a VM kernel adapter that will provide management services. There is many you can create a VM kernels adapter for many services. For example, for vSAN, you have to provide a VM kernel. For fault tolerance services, for vMotion traffic. Okay, so I'm going to create another one for vMotion, another port group. Okay, so I call it vMotion. Okay, for the vMotion, I can provide a VLAN. Don't forget, let's be back to for the vMotion, we have a VLAN. So the VLAN will be 1020. Okay, don't forget. For the management, it is 1010. But to didn't create the VLAN. By default, you will use the native VLAN. We can call it like that, but we have to provide additional VLAN for each port group that we are going to create the vMotion. So it will be 1020 for the vMotion traffic. For the VLAN, it will be 1020. Next, finish. So if you go here, we have 1020 for the. We're going to create another one for the vSAN. Okay, the vSAN will be 1030. So what's happened? We create a VN to separate traffic for each services. If we separate the traffic for the management, for the vMotion, for photo, we were going to do it for NSS as well. Uh, so we have to provide those VN. That's why. Okay, let me finish this. I will be back. It's a VLAN, vSAN. Let me see if I don't have another one. vSAN 1030 and photo length. It will be for 1040. Okay, we're going to for the photo length group FT. The VN will be 1040. Okay, we finish. What I want to show you, okay, it's or I can pass traffic for all those things. Remember, I'm going to the physical host. Don't forget our first lab. I think the first or two video. Let's forget. Let's go to see the networking parts when we create the lab switch. Okay. Let's go to the networking lab switch. Yeah, we can see it. When we create the lab switch, we see that we provide a special VLAN, what we call the VGT, the virtual guest VLAN. What is it? So when you create the lab switch with this special VLAN ID, that means that you are responsible to it has a VLAN trunk mode. It's like the VLAN trunk mode in a physical switch. So you can pass any VLAN that you want on it. Okay, let's go back to design. That means if I have management traffic here, if I have management traffic here, I have vMotion traffic here, I have vSAN traffic here on this host, I have photo lens traffic here and other traffic. If I want that they can pass, all those traffic can pass on those two physical adapters, so I have to configure this physical adapter as a trunking port. That's why my lab switch that is connected here, I give a special a VLAN ID that is 4095. Okay, that's mean that I can pass all the traffic on it, and my FortiGate will be responsible. I create sub interface. So in my FortiGate, I create a VLAN. Don't forget, if you skip this video, I will ask you to go to the first video to see where I create those VLANs. So I create the 1010. I didn't create 1010. So yeah, the interface two were for my management interface. The first one was for the physical world. Let's call it external interface, or my one. Okay, let's call it the one. Okay, so this was for my one, and the third one for it was the lab switch. Okay, so in lab switch we create many sub interfaces. We create one for the vmotion. For the vmotion, it was we create a VLAN for 10 to 20. We create the 1030 for vSAN, and we create for fault tolerance. And we will create additional when we have to deploy a NSX. Okay, so that's why we were able to create those villains. So don't forget, you have your main switch, your physical, you can call it the TR switch, should all the all the um all the ports should be configured in trunk mode, so you can carry all respective villain. Okay, let's go back to here. Okay, so we create our different per group. So now we did attach this switch to any host. Okay, so we're going to attach it to the host. So going to add host, we attach all the switch to the vDS. Okay, okay, so you have to uplink. So I say the VMNIC 0, I'm going to assign to uplink 1, and the VMNIC 1, we are going to attach it to uplink 2. Don't forget, when we create the VDS, we say we have two uplink, two physical uplink. So I attach the first NIC 0 to the uplink 1, and the second to the uplink 2. Okay. Now, he provide me the possibility to migrate a vMkernel. So I have the management network that was in the standard switch, so I can migrate it to the distributed switch. So I can assign the VMK0, the management port, to the management port group. Okay, I assign it. Say next. Okay, I don't have any VM to migrate, and it's done. So now it's going to configure my physical switch. Okay, now if I go to the VM management, to the ports, I see that I have three VM kernels for my management traffic. If I go to the EOS, to VM kernels adapter, I see that I have my management that using and you can see the switch. Don't forget the switch. My management ports were on the standard switch. Now it is on the distributed switch. So I migrate the management my management port on the distributed switch, and it is here. So I have two uplink, VMNIC 0, VMNIC 1, two physical, my two physical adapter. So it is connected here. So I have a vmkernel from the management traffic. It's okay. The same thing, you see, it is consistent. So I don't want to go to every host to create the management per group. So it is I created on the distributed switch, and it apply on every host. Now I'm going to create a VM kernel for the vMotion traffic, okay, to separate it. So I'm going to add the VM kernels, a VM kernel adapter. So I click a right click on it, on vMotion, add VM kernels adapter. Okay, I select all the hosts. Okay, now I say which traffic I want to allow on this port group. So I create it for vMotion. So I will choose vMotion. So I have to specify the subnet I will use for this traffic. So um my design, it will be 10, 50, 20. It will be the subnet. So uh, it will be 101. Okay, if I want, I can populate all this. So the first one will have 101, 102, 103. I can populate it. And the gateway, I can say the gateway will be 10, 50, 20, 21. Okay, next, finish. Yeah, I create for vMotion. Okay, it is the if you go here in the server, for example, here in the vmkernel adapter, I see I have a vmkernel adapter from the management, and I create another one for the vMotion traffic. That is here, for and I can ping those interface. Let's see. Let's go to my virtual appliance, a FortiGate virtual appliance. Let's see which IP it has. This is my virtual appliance, a FortiGate. My one IP is this, so I'm going to connect on it. So just to show you that I can ping those interfaces. So I connect to my virtual appliance. Don't forget we did this lab before. So I create um I create some sub interfaces. In POS3, I create many sub interfaces for all those traffics for photolayers, vMotion, etc. So I can show you that I can ping, for example, I can ping for the first host 2020 20 dot 101. It is for my first it is for the vMotion adapter that is on ESXi one. Sorry, I have to put execute ping for ticket, and I can ping it. I can ping for the second for the SSI two. Yeah, three. Yeah, I can ping my management interface. There is no problem. Yeah. So there's no problem. So I'm going to now let's finish. We create the VM kernel for management for vMotion. We have to create for vSAN. We have to create for photolayers. Let's create for vSAN. If you don't, I'm not doing let's say a vCenter a training per se, but if you don't understand those things, there's plenty video available on YouTube. But if you want, I can focus a video to explain deeper about distributed switch, about VM kernels adapter, etc. But I think if you're doing a full VMware stack, I mean that I assume that that you know those things before. Okay, let's do for vSAN. Um, so it will provide vSAN services. Um, so I give the subnet for the first. It will be 101. Okay, and for the gateway, and if you see, if I return in my lab, I can ping now those interfaces. I can um, ping I can ping those interfaces normally, no problem. So let's create the last one. It will be for a fault tolerant, a traffic. Okay. So if you're going to use this fair replication, those things you have to provide you can use an existing support group, or you can create a totally different per group. Sorry, to separate those traffic, this application traffic over vMotion, over the traffic. Okay, it will be 40 101. Okay, that's it. So what we did, let's say a recap. So we deploy when you deploy the ESXi. So there is a standard switch by default that is create the standard switch. We create a distributed switch for better performance, scalability, etc. And we assign two uplink, to physical uplink for the distributed switch, and we create many a port group on it. Each port group has their own VLAN, so which we separate the traffic. So we did VLAN segmentation. So we create a traffic for vMotion, traffic for a vSAN. So all those traffic they are on their respective VLAN, and so we create VMkernels adapter for those for them. So we have a interface for each of one vMotion. They are each is on their respective VLAN. Okay, and that's it. So I can do vMotion when I'm going to when I'm going to use vSAN traffic. So the vSAN traffic will use this interface for for vSAN traffic. When I'm going to do vMotion, move a virtual machine from a host to another host, it will use this this port group. So vMotion traffic won't interfere with a management traffic. So that's it is all you have to design to configure a successfully your infrastructure. So I think it's okay now. It's okay. So everything is okay, and now I think the next thing that we have to do, we have to deploy some VMs and provide vMotion. We are going to configure a vSAN now. So we created the distributed services. Now I can now configure vSAN. So when we configure the vSAN, so the vSAN will be for the whole infrastructure, or the SXI will use I will have a vSAN data store for the for every host that will use it. So that give me redundancy, load balancing, etc. And after I can start to deploy a VMs. That will be server, that will be, it can be a VM desktop, if you are using Horizon, or a virtual server, etc. It can be Linux, Windows, whatever you want. Okay. Um, I think it's okay. Now we finished to create the so what we did so far. So we configure the network parts. So we create a VDS, and the VDS, we create a management port group. We create vMotion, vSAN, fault tolerant, and we assign the VLAN, so to separate the traffic. And after we create a vMkernel adapter for each port group, management, vMotion, etc. And we test it on the so the FortiGate virtual appliance. It provides the gateway for all those subnet. We test it. We go to the FortiGate. We ping each host interface, and we see that everything was working as expected. I think we're okay. We are done for the distributed switch, and now we can go another video now to configure the vSAN. So we're going quickly, and as I said, write in the comments if you want. We can go deeper in vSAN. I think I have to go back and to do some specific videos to, but please bear with me that this training will be for the whole stack. So I don't want it be too long. So that's why I go quickly on vCenter, quickly on the vCenter. I go quickly on the distributed switch. While we go quickly on the vSAN, but maybe later we have plenty of time, so I can make a specific video for each of those concepts. Because the vSAN is very fast, very deep, is very vast. vCenter is very vast. Everything is vast. So we make it. So we're going to go deeper on this. So thank you very much. So we're going the next video. We're going to configure the vSAN. Um, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's very fun, very excited for me to do it, to do show you this. Cause it's I have more than I have more than 5 years. I do big deployment of VCF. I do many deployment of VMware, and I never do a video. So it's my first time. So I'm very excited. So I can contribute of this world. So please give me a comment, give me a like, a subscribe. It will be very appreciated. So I can be motivated so to do many other videos. Thank you very much, and I'm going to do another video. For the next video will be for vSAN, or we're going to configure vSAN. Bye for now.